Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hall of Fame sportscaster Lesley VISSER.
Wow, thank you all for staying and for coming, and that was such a great panel. As a sportscaster myself, I loved listening to that. For everyone here and for all of you, I worked and have been on the board, the Jim Valvano, and Jim Valvano said, if you can think, laugh, and cry, you've had a pretty full day. And I would say for the last 24 hours for all of us, we've been able to think, laugh, and cry. And this panel here, we're talking about our own challenges that everyone has faced of young girls getting into sports. I'll tell you mine quickly. I'll introduce our wonderful panel. My name's Lesley VISSER. I'm with CBS Sports. And the arc of my career, in my 40 years of covering sports, I was the first woman to cover the NFL. And the credential that we all wear, oh, Indira, you still have yours on. The credential, by the way, great three-point shooter, do not challenge her. The credential, actually on the credential when I started covering the NFL said, no women or children in the press box. Right there, as I'm going to cover the NFL. And now, God bless CBS, we actually have the first and only all-women's talking sports show. So it's sort of like this panel. So yes, God, thank you, CBS. Thank you to the Doha, Richard Atias, everyone for having us. So everyone here is a champion. You all know the great Nadia COMANECI. Please welcome her. Our reigning champion, Olympic champion, Meryl Davis. Woo! Our reigning dancer. Are you our reigning Dancing with the Stars champion?
I'm not.
Not right, but you are champion. Great college basketball player, Indira, please welcome. And the great runner from South Africa, she will tell us her story, Elana MEYER. Please. So I guess just first, if each of you would go through the challenge that each of you faced to get where you are. Nadia, I mean, we think we all know your story, but we don't know it from you.
I'm not sure I know my story, though. First of all, I'm happy to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation. I was a part of Doha Goals. Since the beginning, I was there when they opened the big Aspire. And I'm just happy that I am a part of this wonderful partnership that you guys have with Special Olympics. I've been involved with Special Olympics for 24 years. And it's just wonderful to be a part of such a wonderful family. Well, my story goes really, really back. Actually, next year is going to be the 40th anniversary of the Olympics. And that sounds like a lot, but it doesn't feel that it's been such a long time since I competed. I grew up in Romania, and I studied gymnastics because, like many other kids, at that young age, I had a lot of course, energy, and I used to break the furniture in the house. And my mom was talking to the friends and neighbors and said, what should I do with this kid? Because not only that she destroys the furniture, but I'm afraid that's going to do something that's going to endanger herself. And I was lucky that we had a gymnastics school in the neighborhood. And my mom thought that temporarily I can do everything that I do in a house, I should do over there. So she thought it was a great place for me. With actually no idea about the Olympics, none of that. I just loved it because I could do, I just felt free. So I didn't know that I was breaking barriers for and opportunities, talking about opportunities for women in sports, because that was such a long time ago, and I was just went with what I had. I cannot imagine what I would have done if that was not possible.
Wow. Maybe you've said this, but I don't know if everyone here has heard this. Nadia was actually on the stage when the man we all bow to, Elana knew him personally, the great Nelson Mandela. Nadia was on the stage when he said the words that we all live by, that sport has the power to change the world. So I guess you've had other big moments, right?
Well, yes, of course I had. I was, of course, I'm a part of the Laureate Sport for Good Foundation, and that's also more than 40 Olympians that volunteer using sport as a tool to change the world. And we do a lot of projects all over the world. And I was on the stage in 2000 when Laureate was started in Monaco. And I was privileged to meet Nelson Mandela. And I just think that we all follow everything he said.
Wow. Meryl, you made it look easy, but can you share your story? I guess you had the good fortune, I didn't know this till today, of being born where skating is it.
That's right. Yeah, I think one of the great things about speaking such a legend is that you can take some of her words of wisdom. And Nadia, you said when you did gymnastics, you felt free, and that's exactly how I felt when I was skating. As you said, Lesley, I was really fortunate to grow up in the Detroit area where figure skating, a little Detroit representation over there. Of course, hockey, and now figure skating more than ever is bigger in Detroit. And unlike so many other women in the world, beginning sport and participating in sport really wasn't a challenge for me. I didn't face any challenges outside of the norm initiating that experience. My experience in sport, I think, was particularly beautiful for me because it really helped me overcome other challenges that I had. I struggled with it to a certain degree. I still struggle with, of course, dyslexia, which is an interesting challenge. School was always very difficult for me. And I always found that unlike in the classroom, my work and my effort on the ice was always reflected in my progress. It was always very challenging in the classroom to put in so much effort and not necessarily see the results. Whereas on the ice, I could put in the work and I could see my learning and my progress paying off. So I think that's a really big part of my personal story with sport. And of course, just a lot of gratitude for all of the amazing things that came my way.
You all make your own sports look so easy. Indira, as I mentioned, please, you were born in Sarajevo. You came a long way to be, nobody here challenged her to a three-point, unless Larry Bird's sitting in the audience. But can you tell that story? You're a long way from Sarajevo.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be back for the second Doha Goals. My story starts in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. When I was 4 years old, the war began in Bosnia, and my family had to flee. We moved to Germany, where I lived there for 2 years on a refugee program, and then we moved to LA. So I'm a Bosnian girl at heart. Absolutely love Bosnia, but I love LA as well because this is where I was raised. Today is really special for me because it's my mother's 14th anniversary since she passed away. And it's even more special because before she passed away, she said, you know, Indira, you're special, and you're going to do something special, and to be tied in with the Special Olympics and to be with you guys here on my mother's anniversary means so much to me. As far as basketball goes, I started playing when I was 9 years old, and then my mom passed away at age 13. It was the only freeing thing, truly. When I was on the court, I didn't think about the hardships in my life. I didn't think about anything. My father, my mother, my sister, it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was that ball going through the hoop. And I just fell in love with it, and I pursued it as much as I could. And I was fortunate enough to receive a scholarship, athletic scholarship to Tulane University, where I was 13th in the nation. I always have to say woot woot to that, for the three-point shooting percentage. But after that, I used to play without a hijab. And I've recently gotten closer to my religion, and I decided to wear the hijab. And I don't know if any of you have heard, FIBA is like FIFA, I always have to say that. It's an organization worldwide on all 7 continents, and they had a ban against hijab. And long story short, I decided to stand up and say, hey, this is not right for me. It's not right for any woman or man, also turban wearers. If they choose to wear their hijab while they're playing, or their turban while they're playing, or yarmulke for Jewish faith, they should be able to do so. And it was very trying times and very frustrating times, both for me and women worldwide that cannot play. But I'm proud to say that this August, it's going to be 1 year since FIBA has approved a 2-year provisional period. So all women, men alike can play basketball. It's amazing. It's just amazing what we've been able to do in 4 months. And also the Qatari team that last September, they were not able to play. The national team, they should be able to in a year's time. So it's great to have equality on all levels. And it's an honor to be here to speak about it.
I would love to come back to the hijab that Elana, everyone here is speaking about freedom. I had the privilege to cover the games here in 1984, and I asked you this, you tell us your story from South Africa, but Zola Budd, I thought she was from South Africa, but you yourself could have qualified, or tell the story. Everyone here is freedom. Here you are free, but your journey has been long.
Yes, it's a great honor for me to be on this panel. Just to take you back, I come from South Africa, was born and raised in the apartheid years in South Africa, where, we did not have the opportunity to compete. So for 30 years, South Africa was banned from international competition. And still in that phase, growing up as a little girl on a farm, we didn't even have TV. But I was still, at the age of 9 years old, I was inspired by Nadia's performance, on the other side of the world. And, my first dreams was to become a gymnast. Unfortunately, coming from a small town, we didn't have any gymnastic equipment. So that dream never got the wings to take off. And when they announced at our school, there's a fun run, I thought, okay, that sounds like fun. And I think initially was attracted to the sport rather, through the fun side. But that was my first, my first real introduction to a big dream was through a role model on stage here. And that really gave me the insight into becoming something really great. And I think I definitely want to honor my mother that, I grew up in an I can situation. My mom said I can be anything I want to. I can fly as high as I want to. And that really gave me the freedom. So when I started running, I started dreaming of becoming the best runner that I can be. But in those years, we couldn't compete outside South Africa. And 1984, Zola Budd had a British grandfather. She got a British passport, and competed here, a couple of kilometers from here, competed for Great Britain in the Olympic Games. I also qualified, but, because I didn't have any way of getting out of the country. So, even though I qualified for the Olympics in 1984 and 1988, it wasn't till Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990 that I knew that the climate is changing and that we're going to potentially have an opportunity to compete internationally. So it was a really long journey. So I cannot explain to people how it felt when I walked onto the Olympic track in 1992. And to be able to win a medal and take back the medal, it wasn't gold, but it meant gold to me.
It was, you were sharing with us a little before. We had the privilege when we were all in Doha of quickly meeting Francois Pienaar. What an honor. But can you talk a little in South Africa? You actually knew Nelson Mandela?
So I had the privilege to meet Nelson Mandela the first time in Barcelona Olympics 1992. He walked into as a surprise, walked into the Olympic Village, to come and meet the whole team. And that was my first introduction. And I was privileged to meet him a couple of times over my career. And probably the highlight was having lunch with the great Madiba. And I can just remember his humanity and just how he made me feel. It felt like I have lunch with my grandfather. The kind of conversations we had, the stories that he told, it wasn't, like talking down to a sportsman. It was really, having lunch with your grandfather. He was sharing stories when he was little. He was connecting in with other sportsmen competing internationally. So that was like one of the amazing moments. And I think then the biggest surprise was when I, in the late 1990s, broke the world record for the half marathon. And in the middle of the night, my husband woke me up. He said, "Elana, Mandela on the phone." I said, "Come on, rubbish. It must be somebody pulling my leg." And when I took the phone, it was this cracky voice on the other side and said, he just wanted to say that he's proud of me and the country's proud. And, and for me, that was, he was a true human being and appreciating, encouraging, like human characteristics and people. And, and for me, certainly one of the greatest influences in my life.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Meryl and I had the privilege of being born in this country. Nadia, you've told it. How many times Bart heard it? But tell us the story of how you left Romania for those who have not heard the story.
I'll make the short version.
No,
because
we want to hear it. No, we want to hear it.
Well, I left just a month before the regime fell. I didn't know actually that that's going to happen, so it was just an opportunity for me to go because I was prohibited from leaving Romania. I couldn't travel anymore, and I didn't think that was quite right. And I found an opportunity to do that, and I crossed the border from Romania to Hungary illegally, and then from Hungary to Austria illegally, and then I went to the U.S. Embassy, and apparently at that time everybody found out that I left, but nobody knew where I was, and I arrived in the States just about 3 weeks before the revolution happened in Romania, and I watched everything from U.S., not knowing how my family is doing. So there was it was very difficult because there was nothing that I wanted. I didn't want to plan that, but I felt that's the only way that I can feel free. And now Romania is a free country, and I go back and forth a lot. I go back about 5 times a year because I do a lot of work with my foundation, and of course my family is there. And even though I live in the United States, I'm fortunate to say that I have 2 countries that I live in, and I feel home in the States, and when I go back to Romania, I say that I go home, so that's really good.
You know, your story would make a great movie. Oh, it's already been made into like 5 movies. Such a wonderful story. Thank you, Nadia, for sharing. We're all here to be role models for young girls and women. Meryl, what do you think the biggest benefit of sports has been for you?
I mean, I think for so many women, empowerment, I think, is the word that comes to mind. For multiple reasons, there are so many women in so many different positions who need to be empowered for so many different reasons. I certainly needed my own kind of empowerment, and I definitely found that in sport. Something, as I said before, I didn't feel as though I was able to find in school. Self-confidence is something that I know I struggled with, and I think so many women struggle with, not just because they might be self-conscious girls or self-conscious women, but because of issues that might face them. And I think that so many of those issues can be overcome individually in participation in sport, feeling like you're in control, learning life lessons, whether it's goal setting, perseverance, just feeling like you have the power to make your own reality, I think is something that you can really find for yourself in sport.
Okay, because we all want to know. Tell us the difference of Dancing with the Stars from winning a gold medal, okay?
Sure. Well, I loved both, of course. The journey to the Olympic gold medal with my amazing partner, Charlie White, was more than 18 years in the making. We skated together. We have been skating together. I'm going to pick him up at the airport tomorrow morning. For 18 years to get
Was
to the
he jealous of your partner on Dancing with the Stars?
No.
Okay.
But I'm incredibly fortunate, and Dancing with the Stars was a very different experience. Definitely not 18 years in the making, but very special. I think Charlie and I very much saw it as sort of a celebration of the 18-year journey we had leading into the Olympics in Sochi. But incredible, very fortunate.
Nadia was saying this because you all speak at the Olympic champion level, and she was saying to you that Dancing with the Stars, it was difficult because, now how's this go? Usually you're used to not pointing your, what?
Yeah, it's a different movement actually because they, I didn't know why, but now I understand. Because you're wearing the skates and you tie very hard the ankle. That's very difficult for them to point the toes. And when you do Dancing with the Stars, a line is very important.
Yeah.
But you did an amazing job with that. Yeah.
So Meryl, if I just point my toe, then I guess I win Dancing with the Stars. Right?
No.
Indira, Nelson Mandela would be so proud of you. You are changing the world. And for people who don't understand, I mean, is it difficult to play with a hijab or?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. That's such an honor. But I wear this, and everybody's like, doesn't that get all over your face? But what we play with, it's a complete tight hijab. It's a sports hijab, kind of like what Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, they wear like tight, dry fit long sleeve shirts and long sleeve leggings. So it's exactly the same thing. And then just a tight hijab that goes underneath the jersey. So to be honest, playing without the hijab for so many years, and I had super long hair, sometimes it would get in other players' mouths. It was very uncomfortable, underneath their armpit, totally gross. So this way, it's actually way more comfortable for me. So it's funny when the whole ban was, I always used to say, well, what's the problem? It's actually more safe. So that's what we've been kind of able to prove, that it is a totally safe thing to do. It doesn't harm me nor the other person. But in that, honestly, through this experience, I've been able to meet so many women like in front of me and beside me that are champions and are just normal women that have everyday struggles. Maybe it's not like mine, but they have struggles and they want to be able to express themselves. They want to be able to be free in their activities of sport and non-sport. And I think that's why we're here. I think that's why we're here to speak about empowerment and girl power, as our topic is, and truly be able to say that with confidence. And if a woman wants to shoot a basketball with a hijab, that she can do so without being judged. And if she wants to kick a soccer ball with her hair all over the place, it's totally fine. And I think that's the whole point. And that's why I started Global Aktivne, which is a nonprofit organization that seeks to empower women globally. Aktivne in Bosnian means active women, so that's why it goes together. And long story short, what I have this vision, this dream, is to invite women of all ethnicities, backgrounds, to engage in activity, whether it be sport-wise, education-wise. If you like photography, let's do some workshops. If you like poetry, this is what I want to do, and I have a goal to empower women no matter where if you come from Sarajevo, if you come from the United States of America, that we are all empowered and that we're able to do something together and say, women can. I think that's the main thing that we are here, all of us are for. And I mean, I'm sitting amongst champions. I mean, it's just amazing that I'm here. But we really can make a difference, one girl, one woman at a time.
I'm so glad you said the name of your foundation because I couldn't pronounce it. So
it's okay, you're not the only one.
Thank you.
Aktive, it's okay, you're not the only one.
We have a couple minutes left if there are any questions from the audience. I just stand up and say, I'm sorry, do we see them right here in the front? I guess the table. Should either one of you? Go ahead, sure.
There's no
Or
mics?
you can just say it.
Yeah,
Yes.
The headscarf. That's better.
I was going to come to you.
Did you hear the first part?
Yes.
Okay. You put forward the question with the FIBA about the headscarf,
yes.
But it's a question, of course, which is coming back at every branch of sports, and it's a reason for exclusion of groups of girls who can't compete.
Mm-hmm.
And my question to you is, what can be done to solve this problem in a more general way, and how can we help to solve this problem?
Beautiful. Great question. Honestly, through this, I've been contacted by girls that are from Africa but living in Sweden, 6'3" girl. And she told me, Indira, I stopped playing basketball, I'm 17 years old. She's like, I'm able to play professional basketball. But I stopped about a year ago until I heard your story, and I started playing again. She said, can you please send me the FIBA approval so that I can show And you will not believe this. The league that she's playing in has forced her to pay extra for wearing the hijab. And I just couldn't believe when I read the article, I was like, what you wrote me, I said, what? You have to pay more to wear the hijab? She said, yes. So what we can do is start, each single one of us, when we see somebody that is not like us, to invite them. Especially Musliminas that wear the hijab. They feel awkward. They feel like, even sometimes you should see the looks that I get when I come out with the whole black, everything tight. It's like, we can all start by saying, hey, maybe she's actually a ball player. And I love that because I can show that, hey, what we have in mind of what is a typical athlete, a typical woman basketball player, is not always the case. Today I met a lovely short girl, and she told me, I do martial arts. I think she's out there somewhere. And I said, you? And then I taught myself. And I said, I need to start with myself. Let's not judge. Let's allow everybody, inclusivity in everything that we do. On a more political level, that I won't even get into because there's so many countries that are still saying women with hijab are not allowed to do it. But on a more level like of humankind, if you see a little girl that wants to play with the hijab or she's not sure, invite her. Ask her to join the soccer match. Ask her to join the tennis. Ask her to go on a run with you. They're just like you and I. They want to participate. They want to be involved. I think every single woman and man wants that.
Oh, what a way to wrap it up. Elana, Indira, Meryl, Nadia, what a privilege, right, to hear from these women and their stories and the freedom and how they've broken all the stereotypes and what sports gave to all of you. So thank you all, and thank you all for joining us.